Hi there, this is JJ, and I am coming to you today to answer some of the frequently asked questions about Masterpoint Curriculum. One of the things that has happened as we have continued to have people research and check out Masterpoint is they want to know how many hours a day are my students going to be using in order to do Masterpoint. The reality is I don't know. The goal would be that they would be able to move through all of the different subjects with 4 to 6 hours of work a day, and then have one day off that you could meet in community and have discussions about that. But every student is going to be different. Your mileage may vary. As a family, you may choose to emphasize something more than others, and that is 100% within your prerogative. So in general, assume maybe 4 to 6 hours. My children have been able to do it in probably, 4 to 6 hours for 2 or sometimes 3 days a week instead of 4. Some weeks are heavier than others. It just depends. But in general, I would say assume that you can get the work done with the 4 days of your homeschool day every single week. And it's a 32-week curriculum. So you can take the breaks that you need to over the winter, and you should, if you start around Labor Day, you should be ended by about Memorial Day as you work through this. Another question I get is, why did I choose this particular resource for this particular climb or summit year? And the background on that is that when I was trying to create the different guides, I researched and researched and researched. I hit several of the most well-known, consistently used, consistently excellent products and recommendations. And then wherever all of those agreed, that made it into one of the Masterpoint guides. And if it didn't agree, but it was really compelling for some other reason, then maybe it made it in. But in general, what you're seeing when you look at Masterpoint is the things that people who are established, tried and true have used and have found successful, or who just have a really great reputation. And so that's what we went through. Another thing that I realized is there is no way to know every single resource that is out there. And there are more resources that are excellent than you could ever complete with your kids. And so one of the things that gives me a lot of comfort when I think about that is that my children, I am hoping, will develop a lifelong love of learning. And so if they want to pursue these things, we have shown them the tools to go and pursue them, to look at different curriculums for themselves. Maybe they'll homeschool their children. And so there are a lot of different options. I have to just be okay with the fact that I'm not going to be perfect. The curriculum's not going to be perfect. There will always be more than we can actually do. And that's okay because we're not Jesus. Another thing that I have had people ask is, what if I don't like that particular resource? What if I want to use something else? Well, do it. Masterpoint was really created out of a desire to give people options. And if the options that are presented in Masterpoint don't suit you or your family, then please don't use them. I will not ever chase you down and be angry with you for not using a resource or using it exactly as it is written. I have presented something that has worked for my family, and I'm presenting something that I think you can get a pretty consistent point A to point B excellent education with your junior high and high school students. But that being said, like I said before, it's not perfect. And you do have the freedom, and you should exercise the freedom to do what you think is best. As my margin widens, I am happy to talk with people if they like 5 of the resources, but they want to change something out for the 6th one, but they all want it in that nice spiral bound guide. I'm happy to talk to people about tailor making different guides for you. But it is just going to be dependent upon my margin and how much time I have available to work on things. Are there samples of the curriculum? Sometimes I get people who say that I want my community to be able to examine the sample and see if it's an option. At this time, we do not have full books that we provide as samples. I think that it's a pretty moderately priced curriculum, and so hopefully it's not too scary to make the commitment if you want to feel and touch something and see the quality of what's coming out. Everything is spiral bound, everything's on a heavier paper with color laser printing. But you're going to have to buy the whole guide at this time. Along with that, I've had people ask me if they could just get a PDF. And no, we are not offering PDFs of the whole curriculum. Now, we are offering samples, and all of the samples include 3 weeks of the specific curriculum, like Climb 1, Climb 2, La Vida Loca, Mathematics of the World. It has the first 3 chapters of each curriculum are available in a digital download off of the Etsy shop for $5. Along with that, there is one other thing that is a digital download, and that is the Trek support document. It's only $1. It's $1 because Etsy wouldn't let me make it free. But it is just different techniques that you can use to spur discussion within a classroom setting with your students. And what I use the Trek support is I look at the different methodologies and I look at the topics that are coming up each day, and I plan to use a different methodology for each one of the topics in the class periods in order to help generate those discussions. Again, that's not all conclusive. You can definitely incorporate other ideas. And I encourage you to please, when you have a great idea, share it on the Facebook groups for that Climb or Summit level, because we need to help each other out with these things. One question I have had is, when will Summit 2 and when will Mathematics of the World be available? Those are the 2 outstanding products. I am hoping that they will be done this summer. Summit 2 is 70% finished and Mathematics of the World is like 85% finished. I just don't want to let things go without giving them the time they deserve to think carefully and make sure that it's something that I would use with confidence for our kids and that I feel really proud of. Again, it may not be right for you, but I want it to be something that you love. Mathematics of the World, right now, Russia is giving me grief. And so Russia has been my standstill spot for, I guess, a couple of weeks, but it is my #1 priority to get it done. I just need to have the creative space to be able to do it with excellence. Why do you use links in La Vida Loca? And that is the personal economics workbook that is in the Climb 3 subject. And the reason that there are links there is that every inspiration goes to an article, and those articles are by different sources, and the reality is that the authors are going to receive payment based on the clicks that they get to their article. And so while I could have grabbed those articles and printed them in the workbook, I think that for copyright there are certain limitations as far as how large of a chunk you can grab. And also, just as a human being, I like writers and I want to support writers, so I sent people to the original sources there. How did Masterpoint come about? Masterpoint was it happened because we had been in a community, a really sweet community, that ended up deciding to make a different direction and go in that direction. And so for the younger years, our group was able to figure out what to use really easily. And that was Claritas. We went with Claritas and used Cross 7 in our home to do the music and the songs and all of that. But we really weren't able to find anything for the junior high and high school years. And so that caused me to just go to town researching. I had kids that were in that age group, and so I had a personal vested interest in it. And that ended up becoming Masterpoint. 2019, 2020 was when we used Masterpoint in community. And like so many other things after 2020, our local community did not make it through that season of time. And so then we personally used the Masterpoint curriculum just at home by ourselves. What I will say is it can be done at home by yourself. It's a whole lot more fun if you're doing it with other people. There's something about the social aspect and the motivation that I think is really sweet. And so if you have a choice, I'd say it can be done any way that you can. It's excellent under any circumstances. But if you're able to get 2 or 3 to gather, even more, that it's a really sweet thing and you'll have a lot of fruitful discussions from that time. And at this point, God's got Masterpoint. As long as it serves a purpose, then I'm going to keep supporting it and helping people and answering questions and just praying for the people that are moving in this direction and looking at different options, because at the end of the day, I really believe that there are a lot of excellent options out there. Masterpoint is one of them. I think it would be an easy transition or a familiar setup for some homeschoolers that are looking for something that you would do at home and then discuss in a community one day a week. But it is 100% going to always be up to you and where God is calling you. So if Masterpoint can be a part of your homeschooling journey, I sure hope that it is helpful. And if not, I wish you absolutely the best as you're going out and doing your research. Take care.